In December of 2022, Zaion Lanza debuted as a member of Nijisanji Ien's X-Soleil wave, but was fired from the company only 3 months later, which started a chain of events which eventually laid the foundation for Nijisanji's own self-destruction. X-Soleil was quite successful, with each member growing to 100,000 within only the first couple of months. Zaion became known for her Genshin Impact streams, which are different from others because Zaion had extensive knowledge of Genshin and other gacha games. This enabled her to fill a niche for those who wanted a more knowledgeable Genshin Impact player. However, after only one stream, Zaion switched to a brand new account for reasons that were unknown at the time, although many speculated that it was due to Zaion's poor choice of language during the stream. Zaion became known for a darker, more unhinged form of humor.
I feel like I would be more likely to get raped in here. Anyway.
She was constantly pushing boundaries in a way that other Nijisanji members never did, and eventually this did get her into trouble. In Zaion's 3 months in Nijisanji, she was suspended twice, with the first suspension lasting from December 31st to January 10th. This suspension was a punishment for multiple infractions hidden behind the scenes. Viewers were told that it was a normal break, only to have it later be revealed that this break was a suspension in disguise. Zaion didn't last long after the suspension ended either. Less than 1 month later, on February 8th, Nijisanji released a statement stating that Zaion was suspended once again, this time stating that Zaion had demonstrated no intention to improve after feedback, found discrepancies between information given to management by Zaion and her acts, and that she had made insensitive jokes that cannot be tolerated as a Nijisanji liver. Zaion was also doxxed immediately after the second suspension began on February 9th. While Zaion's suspension may have come as a surprise to casual fans, it didn't really surprise a lot of Zaion's more experienced fans who were kind of expecting her to get banned at some point. On March 10th, Anycolor announced that Zaion was terminated from Nijisanji. Nijisanji released a list of 12 things that Zaion had done which led to her termination. Perhaps because Nijisanji didn't give out a lot of information themselves, a lot of fans ended up trying to look into the situation to figure out exactly what happened for themselves. One of the main points that people brought up was a rape joke that Zaion made. This was one of the main allegations and was quite a serious one because it was used as evidence that Zaion did not belong in a corporation. People also ended up talking quite a bit about a "these nuts" joke that Zaion made. This is because Nijisanji complained that Zaion falsely claimed to be sponsored by another company, a "these nuts" company. The situation only grew worse for Zaion when 3 members of Nijisanji spoke out against her and supported Nijisanji.
What was mentioned on the termination thing, it mentions things like how she lied to other people and stuff, and I apparently happened to be one of those people actually, so I was feeling really depressed for quite a while, so...
Zaion's fellow X-Soleil members, Hex Haywire and Kotaka, also had things to say about her.
As both a liver for Nijisanji and someone who has suffered through sexual assaults as a young person, as a younger individual, I cannot condone a lot of the jokes and a lot of the things that she said, and it devastates me. It fucking devastates me.
So first things first, about the termination, obviously. Honestly, what's said in the announcement is pretty simple and clear, I feel like. She broke the rules, a lot of the rules.
With both Nijisanji and her fellow talents speaking out against her, the case against Zaion seemed pretty open and shut. On May 5th, VTuber Sayu Okami, also known as Sayu Synchronicity, released a statement detailing why Zaion was terminated from Nijisanji. Sayu denies being Zaion, presumably for legal reasons, but she appears to have been the person behind the avatar. Sometimes the document speaks from Sayu's perspective while also containing a segment supposedly not written by Sayu, but Zaion instead. Before I talk about this document, I also want to make it clear that there are 22 pages worth of content within this document. I'm not going to be covering all of it, only the most important bits. Sayu released a 22-page long document detailing exactly what happened. She covered Nijisanji's 12 points, admitting guilt in areas where necessary. For example, she admitted that she lied to upper management about what Final Fantasy XIV accounts she was going to use. She also revealed some information which made Nijisanji look pretty petty. claiming that one of the causes of her trouble was because of a misclick on a tweet that she was unaware of. After explaining the 12 points, Zaion explained how Niji-sanji was mismanaged, making 3 main points. She was given a manager who was only 2 weeks with the company, she got in trouble for reaching out to a different manager for help, and management consistently changed the rules regarding Zaion's use of her personal Genshin account. Zaion details extensively one bad experience with her upper management, specifically revolving around her Genshin Impact account from her past life. This was an account that she had played on since the beta days of Genshin Impact, and it was something that she had put a lot of time and money into. According to Zaion, after only one stream with the account, her rights to use that account were removed, and she had to start over from the very beginning with a fresh account. This resulted in Zaion fighting over the right to use that original account. However, Niji-sanji denied the request by giving constantly changing answers. This resulted in Zaion feeling punished for her past successes. The document had some mixed reactions. Because Zaion did confess to breaking rules, a few people felt like the termination was deserved. On the other hand, Zaion brought up some decent points against Niji-sanji, with many focusing on the 2-week manager problem, as well as the punishment for asking another manager that was not hers for help. However, because all of Zaion's problems happened behind the scenes, there was always some level of uncertainty surrounding the document. No one knew how much of it was true, or if this was a problem with just one manager or all of Niji-sanji, and the uncertainty made it hard to figure out who deserved more blame. Fans could accept that Niji-sanji might have screwed over Zaion, but she also admitted to breaking many different rules. Those who took Sayu at her word accepted that Niji-sanji may have been partially at fault for what happened. Some pointed to things like the D's nuts joke, the punishments for reaching out to other managers, and the accidental Twitter like as examples of Niji-sanji being too harsh. After Zaion's termination, Niji-sanji began to show visible signs of instability. There were a lot of small little one-off events that happened throughout the year that, in isolation, probably didn't mean all that much, but when looked at together, did not paint a very good picture of Niji-sanji management. Selene Tatsuki hosted her own event, the Selene Closet event, to allow fans to design an outfit for her. However, she later talked about how management changed the rules on her and messed up her plans. Multiple talents graduated between May 2023 and January 2024, including top talents Mr. Rias, Nina Kusaka, Mika Melatica, and Pamu Rainpuff. However, the big event was Selene Tatsuki's termination on February 5th. Selene had gotten into trouble with management after uploading a cover of Lily Pichu's Last Cup of Coffee on Christmas 2023. Niji-sanji's termination notice was received extremely poorly. The notice demonstrated a lack of compassion for Selene and threw the other members of Niji-sanji under the bus. Fans took notice of this and began to bash the company. Niji-sanji's reputation fell pretty drastically as a result of the Selene Tatsuki drama, and the reason for this is because VTubing agencies in the West have been sold on the basis that the company is going to be taking care of the talent. If the talent isn't taken care of by the company, then the company has violated its very purpose for existing in the first place. So, with the Selene Tatsuki termination notice, Niji-sanji demonstrated that they weren't taking care of their talents, and even threw their talents under the bus. With Niji-sanji's reputation in the gutter, Sayu gained a lot more credibility. She became known as a herald of Niji-sanji's destruction, someone who had been the first victim of Niji-sanji EN, and after how badly Niji-sanji had screwed up when firing Selene, it was clear to everyone that Niji-sanji's management was incompetent, and suddenly Sayu's story looked a lot more believable than before. A lot of people who had once turned against her began to apologize as her reputation improved. In March 2024, Sayu gave additional information about what happened right before her termination. Evidently, she had been given a silencing contract, which she had refused to sign.
And it was like, oh yeah, if you want us to say like we're leaving on mutual terms, you have to sign this other contract by like this time, like it was in like 5 hours or something. And I was like, no, it was 3 hours. It was like 3 hours. I said, I was like, well, what do I get from signing it? And they were like, oh, we think it would be better for your future. They actually, and the screenshot says that too, we think it would be better for your future if the termination said mutually left.
Eventually, Sayu passed this document off to Floridian YouTuber lawyer named Legal Mindset.
This is ridiculous. This is the definition of duress, and this would totally be thrown out in an American court. Not only because they didn't get the approval of the labor board, but because they want it back in a goddamn hour.
With the series of events following Selen's termination, as well as the release of these documents, Sayu managed to restore a lot of her reputation. The One Girl story did a lot to restore Sayu's reputation too, but there was a lot more uncertainty surrounding it. No one was entirely sure how true the document was, or how far Niji-sanji had gone to screw over Zaion. However, with the release of these contracts as well as Selen's story, there was suddenly a lot more proof that Niji-sanji had deliberately attempted to screw Zaion over. Because of that, the release of this document was effectively vindication for Sayu. I should also mention for clarity's sake that there were actually 2 contracts from Niji-sanji that were leaked. A first one was a generic employment contract leaked by some anonymous individual, while the second was a silencing contract leaked by Sayu Synchronicity. Regardless, Zaion was one of the first people to complain about Niji-sanji's exploitative behavior behind the scenes, and she paid the price for it. She was doxxed, harassed, lied about, and all of this went on for over a year. Sure, she may have made a couple of unfunny jokes and broken some of Niji-sanji's activity rules, but she never did anything illegal. That was reserved for what Niji-sanji did. But finally, after a year and a couple of months, we finally have the full story of Zaion Lanza.